everyone, and welcome back. Thank you so much for stopping by. Wonder they say shall never end. Like Arise Television is on fire. Rufai, Oseni and Bwala want to choke us with love. My people, this interview is a must watch. According to Bwala, he said that what is trending is a gossip news, and that why did the Arise Television gave the best minister of the year 2024 to Oseni, and that Arise News know very well that they always criticize Wike in the morning show, because Rufai Oseni asked him like what made him to change his mind about Tinubu, even become Tinubu's spokesman, because he criticized Tinubu to the extent that he said that Tinubu did not win the presidential election 2023. That one now changed his mind to become the spokesman to Tinubu. My people, this one now war room. Just take a listen and just see for yourself everything that happened in this particular interview, to the extent that Bwala almost collapsed in the studio because of the kind of question Rufai and Ayo asked him. Take a look.
Welcome to the morning show, and you are here live in person. In fact, this is the first time we're having you on the morning show in Lagos.
My pleasure.
Because you said you decided to come. But let's go straight to it.
No, before we go straight to the point, this introduction and the soundbite is stale. It's a long time that this was released, and after which I granted interview in different programs of this TV station.
Okay. So, Bwala, let me go to asking the questions. And the truth is, it's not based on stale. And we deliberately played that clip because you came in with a bang and you said you were a presidential spokesman. But Mr. Bayo and Onuga and the other people in the team corrected you and they redirected the position. I'll ask you two questions. Number one, what is your relationship like with them? Do you have the access? Is your office in the villa? Do you have that level of full access? Do you still have that access with President Tinubu? Or that little back and forth has pushed you down the pecking order because they now changed you to special advisor on policy comms, which a lot of people said it was a demotion for public relations. But I also ask you, Mr. Bwala, my friend and brother, what are you doing in this government? Wait, let me finish now. Let me finish. Hold on. Just, what are you doing in this government? The same government that in an Arise interview in 2013, you described as president-select rather than president-elect, accusing INEC of manipulation and all of that. You are saying you were in court to say that it was a rigged process. Those were your words. You had casted many doubts on the veracity of this government. You had said a lot of things against this government. So the question is, a lot of people are asking, what are you doing in the same government at some point that you said, if they vote for APC, it will be like going to a night of 1,000 laughs?
So thank you for having me. First of all, I do not think by 2013 you were recruited here. As at 2013, I think sometime around 2013 was when Arise TV launched in London. And at the time, I'm not sure you were with Arise. So first premise, mentioning of 2013 is wrong. And I have been appearing on Arise TV right from UK, even before the Nigerian Arise TV station also was open. Charles Anegolu will confirm, Andrew will confirm. So that one is one. The second one
2023. It's 2023 you said these things, but
no, you just said 2013.
It could be a slip of tongue. It's 2023
no,
you said
first admit that you were wrong, that you slip of tongue.
Bwala, I know your deflection tactics.
No,
you can't play me at the game.
Did you or did you not say 2013?
Go straight ahead. Answer the questions.
I'm not writing jam here.
Answer the questions. Answer the questions,
Bwala. Did you say 2013 or did you not say 2013?
It could have been a slip of tongue.
Okay, then allow me to go ahead.
The truth is, go ahead. Don't deflect. Answer the question.
No, there's not. See,
no, it's a deflection tactics. Go ahead.
See, let me tell you what cannot happen here.
Yes, what cannot happen?
Is that you cannot control me or talk to me like a secondary school student.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Bwala.
If you ask a question,
answer the question
and listen to the answer.
Yes.
So that's the first correction.
Yeah.
The second correction has to do with what you wanted to know about our activities in Villa. Ordinarily, I would have said it's none of your business, but I will help you. My office is 101 in the State House, Presidential Villa. I'm a special advisor to the president. Was initially announced as special advisor, media and public communication redesigned to special advisor, policy communication, status, special advisor. No demotion, the same. I have unfettered access with the president. Last week, we had a meeting. Let us throw that one off the corner. You said Sunday Dare and Bayo Ononuga corrected me. That's wrong. It's a press statement that was issued from the presidency. There was no specific individual that corrected.
Why did you call yourself presidential spokesman
Let me finish. I am still a presidential spokesman.
Okay.
Yeah. The statement that was issued said that instead of one, there are 3 presidential spokesmen.
Okay.
Let us throw these ones that are not relevant. The reason I'm here today is because I have never been afraid to appear on Arise TV. I have been a friend of this TV station, and like I said when I began, I appear on Arise in London and here. During your gossip section, you call it stories trending.
No.
It's not gossip. Yeah. It's public opinion.
You call it, I have opinion, the same way you express your opinion, I'm expressing mine.
But it's not gossip.
The gentle lady here, Ayo, insinuated by what she said, let him come here, as if I am running away from coming to this station. It is for that singular reason. I tweeted, I said, that is innuendo. Fix a date and time, I'll be here, and I will come to the Lagos studio to answer your question.
Very good. True to
So
time. So answer the second question I asked you.
What is the second question?
The same government you said all those things about.
Yes.
That Tinubu didn't win this, then all of that. That
Yes.
processes were shambolic. You were speaking for Atiku.
Everything.
Yes. You admit you said those things against this government. Why are you still serving in this same government?
Good.
The government you call the night of 1,000 laps if they get elected. Why are you serving in? Are you part of the joke?
So if you ask the question, you wait for me to answer.
Go ahead, Bwala.
Good. I was in the opposition.
Yes.
In case you don't know, the role of the opposition is to oppose the government. In doing so, you de-emphasize the strength of the government and emphasize your strength. Where they have strength, you allow them to argue their matter. They rest their case on their strength and not on the weakness of the opposition. When I made a decision on the 10th of January, and after I visited the president, from that day till date, I speak well of the president and I support his activities. Now you ask, I spoke. Can I have water to drink, please?
Sure.
Yeah, please get him water.
You said I spoke
You
against
said a lot of things. You delegitimized him. You said it was not a legitimate government. All the things you said. Do you still stand by them, or you have had a change of heart?
They are irrelevant.
They are irrelevant. So
the
question is, you are not a man of convictions. Because if you said those things out of your convictions, then so your convictions change.
So here, every day, wike, and at the end of the day, you people sat and nominated him as the best minister. So you are not a station of conviction.
Anyway, it's not
Can I have water to drink,
It's not Arise that nominated you. It is this day that nominated him.
This day,
secondly, you are saying you don't have convictions. That's what you're saying.
You don't have conviction, wike, and then you came together and
Mr. Bwala.
Okay.
Mr. Bwala, thank you for honoring our invitation. Like you posted on your X that we should give a date and time and you'll be here, and you honor that you're here. So let's examine some of the things that you said, right? No. And I say this because beyond conviction, you almost seem like a prophet. Beyond just touting the APC as, a party or a party that's a joke, you also examine the manifesto and analyze the policies of the president. So if we're talking about that now, that he's in government for close to 2 years, we'll see that some of the predictions you made were actually quite accurate. One of the things you said was that you will discover that every promise put in there,
it's on its way.
All right? Okay. Unless it can show that there is a plan to create production, everything is about borrowing. And they might end up borrowing your intestine, your kidney, and every part of your being. That's what you said. Now, this administration, since coming in, has indeed borrowed to the extent that Nigerians have started to raise concern around our debt burden. In fact, our debt to GDP ratio is at a record high. What do you have to say about this? Do you still agree? Do you still agree that there are better ways to address our current economic situation, e.g. production, driving production, rather than borrowing, as you predicted before this administration came into power?
So I criticized the administration because I was in the opposition. When I made the decision to support the president, I decided to pay attention to his policy, like you talked about the manifesto, and to further do research.
Yeah.
In doing so, I try to look at where there is, for example, quote-unquote a failure, I try to know why. So, for example, there was a time there was this food inflation and it was carried all over the places. And then I tried to look at what actually is the cause of the food inflation. And then I realized there was a natural disaster in Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, which could have caused it. And then we have insecurity in the Northwest. So the research is to find a reason for whatever is the policy, the reason behind the policy. And then where, for example, there is a misinterpretation of the implementation of the policy, we come out and we give our perspective. Government is not perfect. Government will never be perfect. Government is a work in progress. And at every given time, government assesses what it does, take feedback from Nigeria, improve upon it, and move forward. There is nothing magical about everything I said before and what I'm saying now. I said it in my capacity as an opposition.
So you're saying that, so you're aligned with the boring tactic of this particular administration?
I take exception to the use of the word line.
Okay, so please, we were that person, because that's my take, like you mentioned.
So
because
my take is you're wrong in the use of that word. I just explain, I say as an opposition, I oppose the government. As someone supporting the government, I speak for the government.
So you backtrack in terms of our ability to produce rather than borrowing?
Oh, you mean in terms of the
Yes,
borrowing?
I'm saying about your statement. Leave opposition.
Tell me the exact statement.
I said it to you. I said you talked about the fact that this administration should be looking at production as opposed to borrowing. That in the event that they came into power, they're going to borrow our intestines, our kidneys, everything, which is what we're seeing now.
Have they borrowed their intestine?
Well, I mean, you were saying it as
you say what we're saying.
You were saying it as it was hyperbole. You were using it as your words. I really want us to get something out of the interview. So it's not just about, oh, you said, I said, or I didn't mean that. Just in terms of your analysis of the current boring structure of this administration, is it productive? Should we be focusing more on production? Are there ways that we can be a production nation as opposed to a consumption nation so that we're able to reduce borrowing? We've had a number of analysts come here to talk about how we can finance our debts in more creative and intelligent ways that's sustainable. So that's all I want you to speak on.
Yeah. Government borrows and there is a justification for borrowing. Before now, I didn't care about whatever is the justification. But now I realize that for government to be able to carry out its mandate for the people with limited resources, that's the whole essence of economy. If you cannot find where you have revenue or the revenue is not sufficient, then you have to borrow. I will give you an example. There is a research, an agreement by economists that only in infrastructure alone, Nigeria needs to spend between $30 to $100 billion annually. And then to put it in order to meet up with the deficit. Or, in proper perspective, over a period of 30 years, Nigeria must spend between $2 to $3 trillion or to $3 trillion. The budget of Nigeria is less than $35 billion. So definitely you see the need to borrow. When you borrow, what do you do with it is what matters. The government borrows to invest in infrastructure and also in intervention in the areas where it affects the Nigerian people. So there's a justification for borrowing.
Okay, are you concerned, and before I hand over to Adifem, are you concerned about the spendings recently? I mean, the private jet, the presidential jet, the refurbishing of the vice president's home, and some of these things, the appointments of the president. A lot of people say that this can reduce the cost of governance so that we don't have to borrow to be funding recurrent revenue and instead focus on infrastructure. I hear you on infrastructure, and you're absolutely correct. But a lot of people have also said there's a lot of wastage in this government. Even the appointments, some of them are not necessary. In terms of even the spokespeople, we have more than enough that we don't even know. Sometimes you guys clash because you're doing about the same things. One person will release one statement, the other person will release something else, so that the president can actually trim his cabinet. The president can actually reduce his spending so that Nigerians can see that this borrowing is not just going to fund personal, personal largesse, but for the good of the people.
My sister, we are not many.
How many are you currently?
Well, you can count and let me know, but I know that in this your morning show, you have about 7 or 8 of you. Why not one? like Charles
This is not a government establishment.
It doesn't have to. No, you are talking about effectiveness
in the field. Taxpayers' money.
Of television.
No, I'm just giving you an example. Charles Anegolu does that alone, but you have about 7 or 8.
That's a loan format. That's a morning. This is and you also want to know that show has shorter hours, and this is a longer. So let's not even talk about television format.
And
just answer the question.
That's
another thing entirely, please.
With regards to the spending, and once you do that, then Adefemi would ask her, because my question is around spending, borrowing. It's really important. Okay. So just after you ask this, you respond to this question. We'll take a short break to enable you, to take care of yourself, and then we'll come back. But please, this question with regards to borrowing, spending, how the government has spent money so far, the size of the cabinet, the purchase of the presidential jet, the refurbishing of the VP's
As for the
homes.
purchase of the presidential jet, it is justifiable because if the president, as the chief marketer of the country, will have to travel around the world, he will need to be in a better jet to be able to do that. I understand that when Buhari was in power, occasionally his jet had problems. They had to fix it. And then with respect to appointment of government appointees, you appoint to fit a purpose. If there's a need to appoint people, you appoint. Where the trouble will come is when you appoint people and they are not effective in what they are doing. So if you have a reason to explain why we are not effective, we'll be happy to answer the question. But if you're talking of the numbers...
All right, Mr. Bwala, I know
Before we go on a break, I just want to read this, then we'll go on a break so you can take that convenience break. Because I need the Disney Award you were talking about is from the hundreds of candidates chosen by millions of readers of Disney and of Arise News Channel that the winner, Wiki, as you said, has emerged as a tough and resilient person in these trying times. So that's the rebuttal as regards that, and that's what the letter that was sent to Wiki. It was something voted for by the readers of our platform. Let's just correct some things you said. You said the president needs a presidential jet, that's why he's buying. But he's buying an A330 Airbus. Do you know how big that plane is and the consumption is like for a presidential jet for a country that is going to take loans? That's an overspend. That's number one. Secondly, how can you justify the economic policies when there's been a lot of inflation, 34.1%?
Right.
For over a year, the CBN has been tightening. We've had recourse to nothing. Even the monies we are borrowing, we're not seeing it. Do you know what your own health minister said recently, Pate? Out of over, 200 billion earmarked for capital projects in the healthcare sector, only 20 billion, about 23 billion was released. There's a big budget underperformance. Your Senate president did say budget performance was 50%. That's an appalling number for all the loans we are taking. So how can you justify the economic policies when the economy is not looking good? We can't even, perform effectively the budgets and Nigeria's in dire straits.
Our economic policy has been, in my assessment, doing very well. Because where we were before President took the oath of office and where we are today, from the economic standpoint, I think economists said that it is safe to assume that Nigeria is not to be dealt with the feeling that it is going into disintegration because the fundamentals of the economy are put in place. What are the fundamentals? Remember, Mr. Rufai, that we are dealing with a nation whose national budget is less than 30 billion. And I just said when we began that even in infrastructure, this is expert opinion, not ours. They say you have to invest between $30 to $100 billion annually. So, and then you're dealing also with a nation that the infrastructure is in decadence, so to speak. We don't have good roads, we don't have airports, our hospitals are dead, and then you are looking at a critical situation like that, you are trying to navigate with limited resources. So, given the circumstance of the case and then juxtaposing that with what we are doing, I can tell you, for example, you talked about inflation. The current food inflation has gone down because food prices are going down. The general inflation of the last month was far better in terms of than the previous month. And this is because, Mr.
What
Rufai...
statistics are those? Because the inflation numbers, general inflation numbers, increased. In fact, we were turning down to 23%. Now it's 34.8%. As when this administration got in, inflation was not up to 30%.
Right.
This administration have increased inflation by close to 10% percentile points.
Yes, but it is to be expected because when you take policy reforms, it is like you're pulling down the house to reconstruct again. We were living on, at the time the president took the oath of office, if you remember, about 26 or so states of the federation were adjudged as bankrupt. They couldn't pay salary. That's not our challenge at the moment. Because of the increased revenue, states are paying salary. We are now urging them to go beyond that and deliver on the mandate to their people. That's one area we've dealt with. Two, the various interventions of government in terms of supporting the states and then providing in direct intervention on Nigerians. For example, if you look at the medical sector, if you look at the agricultural sector, the kind of investment we put in there, definitely there are some investment that will take time. If you plant a seed, it can't come out tomorrow.
But it's not yielding. People are suffering.
No, yes, the suffering.
Pain is rampant.
That is why every time we beg, yes, that's why every time, Mr. Rufai, we keep begging the Nigerian people. You see, leadership is about accountability and respect to the masses. We cannot look them in the face and say, we don't care about your suffering or you are not suffering. We are not in that denial. But what we are saying is that what we are doing at the moment, think of a family. Probably the father is used to taking the kids out to the movie weekends. Twice in a year, they go to Europe, America. Certain lifestyles that are, going very, very well. Suddenly, the father realized that all this is outspending.
But when did these people come for you, Bwala?
When
did these people come? Because when those policies started to kick in the early days, you said this was not the way to go. I mean, you were at variance. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Where is your conviction, my friend?
And my sister. That is the reason why I'm saying that a man who is in the opposition does opposition, and especially in this part of the world, Africa.
So if Atiku had been elected, you follow Atiku to State House. You will not have
I don't discuss if.
Was it because Tinubu was elected?
No, I don't.
Is it for you? Is it an Ajib thing? Any government in power, I must just be in power.
That's your opinion. It's part of those.
Or your conviction.
It's part of those you put in your programs here that bring all the traffic. But they are out of the fact issue or fact relevant to the fact issue.
So my people, that is it. But did I even hear that Bwala said that Arise News bring Orishirishiri to the morning show? That is the reason why they are having traffic. Like, for real? My people, this one was by Bullseye. But there's something that Bwala said here that I quite agree with him when he said that why did Arise News give Nyesom Wike the Minister of the Year 2024? Like, up to now, I'm still not understanding that, honestly. And for the Daniel Bwala, the man just reduced himself to something that I don't really know, honestly. Like, this is so shameful anyway. My people, I say make I bring this update to you guys. I hope you truly enjoy watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and also share. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And I will see you guys in my next update. Goodbye for now.